All right, you guys, what is up? Thanks for joining today. Right now, we are going to announce the community's top 10 players, as well as 6 honorable mentions that can definitely all make the top 10. I think it's just a matter of time spent at this point in the game. We don't have any new legends. You'll see there on the bottom right, we are keeping our 4 current legends: Walls, Marla, Illudude, and myself, Shibipod. I am Shibipod. I'll be the host tonight. I'm one of the panelists on the Wave Race 64 rankings panel. We do look forward to having more of a data-driven approach from this point on. So this might be like one of the final lists that are kind of like decided this way and built this way. We do a majority vote on a list. Basically, we will discuss beforehand on where we think players should be placed and kind of like make our arguments for or against, and discuss as much as needed, and then publish the list. So this list was agreed on by the panelists: Indy Panther, Dr. Fish, Mile My Pancakes, and myself. And we're happy to unveil this list, which is Q1 of 2022. So it goes from like the 1st of January till the last of March. And there are, since we took a little bit of time to publish this list this time, we do have a little bit of like a kind of a bleed over period where a little bit of April probably counted for this. So it's as up to date as we could make it. And like I mentioned, in the future, we do plan on taking a more data-driven approach with just more important data points rather than going based off of the opinions of the panelists. But with that said, I mean, I think that this list is pretty accurate as far as whether or not we went off of data or whether or not we just went off of opinions. I think we did a pretty good job on this list, and I do hope that you guys also think that. So again, we have 2 tiers of honorable mentions. Tier 2 is the lower of the 2, and then Tier 1 is the higher tier. So Tier 1, HM's honorable, not honorable mentions. It looks like that's just misspelled in the overlay. I can't fix it, unfortunately. But our Tier 2 HM's honorable mentions are going to be Dasufura, Ryan Warner Codes, and Zooby-Doo77. So nice job to these 3 players. I know they haven't been all that active. However, you know, Zooby-Doo has that full-time sheet representing every single submission that we have. And then Ryan Warner Codes, you might know, he's been working on WaveRace64.com. So a lot of his playtime actually gets dedicated to that. Still a very strong newcomer to the game, and I believe this is like his 2nd or 3rd time being on the rankings to some capacity. And then Dasufura, one of our new friends from Japan, who wasn't entirely active over the last period, but the period before really came in strong and showed a lot of really good times, especially for a newcomer. So that will be our Tier 2. And then they can obviously move up to Tier 1, just to kind of depends on their performance over the next quarter and beyond. And Tier 1 is going to have a familiar face of Modal, who was in the top 10 for a long time. He's still probably one of our better players, very inactive lately. However, with a full-time sheet, you're kind of protected from going inactive because there are so few players with fully completed timesheets that it is actually really important and very valued by the ranking panelists and by the community as a whole. So a lot of the players that you will see up here, they might not be super active, but the amount of work that they've done in the past qualifies them to still be ranked today, as long as their times, you know, hold up against the other more modern active players. Um, so Modal up there in the list, recently just dropping out of the top 10, hasn't played for a while, could get back into the top 10. You know, it's a matter of, I think, just motivation for Modal, really not having played for a while. Nick Warner Media, very strong also. Great showing, usually getting benchmark times within the first couple of weeks of working on them even. And then Telfis, it might seem like Telfis is a new face. He is a new face to the rankings. But Telfis actually played back in, I think it was about 2013 and 2014, when I was kind of new to the community. Telfis was playing. So he is returning to the community, and very strong performances across the board. Actually, another thing about Telfis is that the rankings panel, we really appreciated all of the like the data points that he was able to provide in the rankings discussion. And he's not currently a rankings panelist, but this is the direction that the panel wants to go, to have more data and things like that. So not only a great player, but a great mind of the game, and such a good, you know, a stat head. He's got all the data, and we love to see those graphs and stuff. So keep it up, Telfis. Hopefully we see you in the top 10 in the next one. I would not be surprised at all. Actually, I'd kind of be surprised if he doesn't end up in the top 10 in the next little while. So yeah, nice job on that, Ryan. We are going to get into the top or to Telfis there, not Ryan. Ryan does a great job as well working on waverace64.com, but I think actually these two guys Ryan and Telfis need to talk. Maybe we can get some of those data points published on the new website. Yeah, anyway, just an idea I'm throwing out there. We are in the top 10 now, and we're going to just open up with number 10. Another very familiar face. We're going to have Andy Panther at rank number 10 in this period. Of course, we haven't seen a lot of NTSC play recently from Andy, but that's not huge, because although he hasn't played NTSC real soon, or real recently, he's actually our current PAL version champion. He spent a lot of work over the last couple of months, and a little bit before that, putting together a really strong PAL timesheet with numerous world records. And I know that the community doesn't generally value PAL a lot, but I think, you know, that just gets more runs out there. More people are going to be able to see it, and PAL is the only version that a lot of players have access to. It's still kind of difficult in some places in the world, especially PAL regions, to get a working NTSC setup with an original hardware and everything. So really great job to Andy Panther. If you do agree with Modal, because Andy Panther passes Modal in this period. Modal was actually ranked higher, like at number 9, and Andy was number 10. But Andy's going to maintain number 10 here, and Modal is going to drop down. Primarily, this isn't due to any skill gap in between the two of them. I really just think that the promotion of the game, the playing PAL and becoming champ, and still being an active presence playing-wise in the community is very important. And he does also have a full time sheet with strong times all around. He's a well-rounded player, and I think that PAL has actually fit him pretty well, and becoming the champ was no problem seemingly for him. It just took, you know, the amount of time that it took to play. It wasn't, yeah, and he's definitely pushing the European scene over there, I believe from Switzerland. So very nice job, Andy, coming in at 10th in this period. A member of our panel, of course, as well. Moving up to number 9, we do have Illudude, another player that's inactive. You know, 2 of the strongest world records in the game right now are still the Drake Lake 3-lap and the Drake Lake 1-lap record. There hasn't really been any hint that anyone is close to beating either of those right now. or that anybody has even been grinding for those. His past timesheet, of course, has also had many like insane records. Everything from championship expert, a low 13-minute run, over to Twilight City world records, to Port Blue world records. Right now, Ilu is sitting at 9th place. He does have a high risk of falling to inactive since he doesn't have like a full timesheet, and there are players, like new players, coming up below him. So if he's watching this, if you're watching this, Ilu, if you probably, if you submit a time or two in the next 3 months, I'm pretty sure that you will stay ranked and you will probably even move up. But I think we are coming close to an inactive cutoff period where Ilu may lose ranking eligibility if there are other players under him that are looking to be ranked. Anyway, that's how that will probably work. You can't say enough about Ilu, enough good about him though, as far as just his raw skill at the game, and nobody has that steady hand like he does right now. Number 8, we're putting As Money, another somewhat inactive player with a full timesheet though. Has that protection of being considered inactive for not playing. That full timesheet is kind of a bit of protection, like I was mentioning earlier, from going inactive. As Money, he hasn't held a world record in the game yet, but he is competitive across his entire timesheet. He actually doesn't have like an obvious worst level, which I think that's something really important too, is when you're trying to make a timesheet that's very well rounded with a lot of strong times, you don't want to miss any courses and just leave them unplayed or sparsely played. You want to make sure to get them all as good as you can, and that's what As Money has done. I know he's been absent from the community for a while. I am personally in touch with him. He's doing well. He wishes the community well, and maybe one day he will return. Until then, he's currently holding our number 8 spot. So congratulations to As Money. Moving up to actually number 7, and this is an interesting case because this player is probably much better than his current rank. We are talking about Hayate. Hayate is our best player from Japan. He is a former world champion of Wave Race 64 as well. He briefly held champion between myself and Ilu. Like, I think the year was 2013 when Hayate would have been considered the champion of the game. However, we didn't have an official rankings or even a website at the time. We were using a Google Doc we were using a Google Doc back then to compare our times, and we had our own little top 3 on each course list. And Hayate actually at one point held every record in the game: 1 lap, 3 lap, and reverse. We've had trouble finding documentation of that period, but I witnessed it. I saw it firsthand, and I know it happened. Hayate is ranked 7th right now. Yes, that's a little bit low for a player of his caliber, and the reason I think is just because he just came back and he just started submitting again. People may not know actually that Hayate was considered one of our legends down there with Walls, Marla, Ilu, and myself. And I'd like to maybe talk with the rankings panel to see if we could reinstate that, since he has come back and he has uploaded a lot of his videos that were removed. I think the problem at that time was that he just he kind of removed all trace of himself for a while, so we couldn't keep him on the list. But a very strong start to Hayate's comeback. He's got new PBs on Sunny Beach, and he submitted some RTA runs that were also very strong, like 3rd place. And I only expect Hayate to go up in ranking. He's a top 5, top 4, maybe even caliber player, and I hope that he sticks with it a little bit. I know that he and I are kind of similar in that we're both kind of past our we may both feel like we are past the prime of our speedrunning career. But yes, RTA, like MDK just said in my chat, RTA is strong in Hayate, and that is true. Hayate, if you are listening, congratulations, welcome back, and we look forward to you being ranked even better than this next time. I'm sure that you will be ranked better if you continue to play. Oh, moving up to number 6. Actually, this one is going to be Metalhead. This hasn't changed either since the last time. Metalhead, a little bit inactive, and a player that played through a lot of my playing career, especially the second half of it. I got to meet him at a bunch of events like SRX, Speedrunning Expo, and yeah, good times there. He's got an insane Sunny Beach time, an insane spread on his entire timesheet is very high tier. He definitely deserves this top 6 spot. He will continue to hold the top spot since he has a fully fledged out timesheet, lots of good times on it, and he's hard to compete against because not only does he have a well-rounded timesheet, but he's also a level specialist on a few levels, so he has some crazy PBs that look like they are above his pay grade, but actually I think it's more that his already above average other levels are just below his pay grade, and he's actually a top performer. Absolutely. So yeah, hopefully we get to see some more Metalhead soon. Until then, he is ranked 6th. And if you come back, Metalhead, you've got some competition, man. Hayate nipping at your heels. Hopefully you can get a few sessions in. I hope to see you play. Metalhead says that his N64 is put up in the loft right now. Gonna get it back. Gonna get back to it eventually. I hope so, man. I like to watch those Metalhead streams. He used to do this awesome stuff with his camera too, where you could like see through the it was like transparent, but you could see the game and you could see him through the game. I don't know. Probably not the best for proof standards, but it was very entertaining. Let's move on. We've got number 5 going to My Oh My Pancakes. Another another rising player that is in the same era as Metalhead, is somewhat inactive, but also very active in the community overall. I mean, we've got him as a rankings panelist. We also have him as a moderator in the community. And then just to top that off, if you didn't think he's a real speedrunner, he is or was, I think he still is actually, the Excitebike 64 world champion. So, I mean, yeah, I haven't played a lot of that game, but I know how much time he spends on that, and it's comparable to Wave Race. So we definitely have our work cut out for him competing with My Oh My Pancakes. He's an Excitebike god. Yes. Yeah, and actually he's not bad at Wave Race either. He's got top 5 times like on so many different levels, and competing for top 3 times on a few of them too. And he's one of the players who are very consistent on a lot of courses. So if you're going to challenge him to an RTA race, unless you're ranked higher than him on this list, or maybe are like way underrated, you're probably going to lose to him in a race. I'm just pulling up Pancake's timesheet right now. Oh yeah, definitely still the Excitebike 64 champion. But yeah, he's got quite a few top fives. 4th place on Drake Lake Reverse, like somebody was saying to me. So competing for top 3 on that level. 5th place on Sunny Beach Reverse. Very strong timesheet on Reverse. And even the 1-lap timesheet's really strong too. But hopefully my Pancakes, cuts out a little time for us at Wave Race. Maybe a little bit of that Excitebike time can come over to Wave Race, because we'd love to see him compete, for, even if he just went for top 10 across the board. I think that would be a good goal. I don't know, just kind of coming up with something in my head, because you're going to have to play some defense against Hayate, rising up the ranks, and if Metalhead dusts off his N64, Pancakes might have a little competition there too. Very nice job, My Pancakes. Hope you enjoy Wisconsin. We are now in our top 4, and 4th, unchanged right now, is going to go to MDK. I think he kind of had he was ranked 4th last period as well, and had a little bit of a problem with the Nintendo 64 that he was using. I think the power supply was out, and so he's gotten a few replacement power supplies, so that's not going to be the problem. But I think the problem wasn't even that in the first place, was it? I think the problem was one of the circuit boards in the 64, maybe. Either way, MDK, you can't say enough about him. He's just come onto the scene over the last year or year and a half maybe, and has shown multiple, potential even world record, he's shown world record potential on multiple courses. Venezuela, I believe, is where he's from. Definitely going to be a contender for future champion, as I probably won't be PBing much anymore now that I've retired. But yeah, I get a chance to watch MDK play on his stream once in a while. Very consistent for being so new. I don't know how you pick up the game that well, that fast. Is he the best player in the world right now? I don't know. I'm not gonna say no. I'm not saying no, because he's already proven to be good enough to hang with these next 3 players that are above him. And right now, I don't know if anybody's better than MDK. The rankings will put him at 4th, but filling out that timesheet will do him a lot of good. He will go up as long as he keeps submitting and completing that timesheet. And yeah, I'd like to think about and wager how long until this player passes me, or how long until they pass Dr. Fish, and the top players of the last couple of years at least. And I thought we were almost there, but we ran into a power issue on the N64 that he was playing on. So right now, he is in the chat right now. He says that the #1 priority is the full timesheet. That's what I was saying. And that you will see an improvement in rank. I almost guarantee that if you just keep up at that rank, at that pace that you're at right now, and you're getting 3rds and 4ths and 2nds, and I think you have a world record right now as well. That is the kind of stuff that will get you up in the rank. I can guarantee that, especially once we start taking a pure data approach instead of opinions and voting and stuff like that. Bringing up MDK's timesheet, yeah, we've got a world record on Sunset Bay Reverse, the second 107 ever. We're still waiting for the 3rd 107. I wonder who's going to get that. I probably will not be going for that anymore. So the moving of that benchmark is up to someone else. So 108 is still the benchmark, but we've got a couple of 107s. So one more and 107 becomes the benchmark. Also, 2nd place on three or four different things. We got second place on Sunny Beach, second place on Southern Island, second place on Twilight City Reverse, and second place on Southern Island Reverse. So yeah, very strong. I think you're only missing 5 submissions, and then once he has those, we're probably looking at just as strong of a timesheet as Game, who will now be revealed as the number 3 player on the list. Game currently still has a world record on Drake Lake Reverse. Has been inactive for a while, but again, a Game is one of those players that have that coveted full timesheet and is still averaging like 3rd or 4th at worst place overall. I think his worst placement is 8th place, and that's on Sunny Beach, where he has a really solid time. 103.560 is 8th place on Sunny Beach. Can you imagine the world that we live in where 103.5 is 8th place? That's crazy to me. We've come a long way, for sure, since I started. Where there was only 2 people that even had 103 when I started. So Telfis with an interesting data point here that Game is one of only 3 players with better than standard time on all courses. So he's got benchmark on everything. That has to be rare. The other 2 are on this list at number 2 and number 1, I'm pretty sure. So let's get into it then. Number 2, and this will also be unchanged. Still got Dr. Fish, who hasn't submitted very much in the last quarter, but again, a top player with literally no reason not to be ranked top 2 right now. He's been probably the longest standing competition that I've ever had in this game. I've been playing it, competitively since about 2013. And Dr. Fish has just continuously, over the last 4 years, given me such a run for my money. Multiple world records. I think he's sitting on 7 or 6 or 7 of them, something like that. I don't know. Dealing with so much lag on that SRC website that I don't even want to use anymore. And this kind of stuff is the perfect example of why we need our own website. Okay, it finally loaded. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 world records right now. And then, a whole ton of second places. His worst is 5th place. And that's 103.3 on Sunny Beach. 103.3 is 5th place now? And that's so good, man. That time is so good on Sunny Beach. So I can understand where there might not be a lot of motivation to improve that, especially when he's got such good times and everything else. Yeah, Fish could be champion if I think he pretty much just needs to change some of these second places into first place that I have first place on, and then he's there. So always has a key to the back door as far as becoming the champion. Dr. Fish could do it at any time. Maybe he's hoarding. I like to think that he's playing a little bit at least. We see him play on his stream once in a while, but man, Fish, I don't know, man, because you are very close. Looking at the timesheet, very close. I think also in overall time to me, and unfortunately, I am still the champion. I promise I'm not just putting myself as number 1. do have the data points, and I still have a majority of the world records. It's really dwindling each time I look at it, though. I have announced to the Wave Race community that I've retired from playing, so it's really now it's really only a matter of time until I lose my records, because I won't be defending them anymore. So now this is where we're at right now. Quarter 2 has started on April 1st, so we're like 20 days into the ranking period. So continue, everybody, to put up your submissions. Hopefully we see more full timesheets pretty soon, especially with MDK filling his out, and Hayate getting back into the game, and Telfus too getting into it. Actually, I just want to thank you guys too for playing the game with me. I've been playing for years, and through some of that time there have been no other players. Like in 2015 it was like me and in 2014 it was like me, Ilu, Admiral Smith, if you guys remember him. I think Telfus was playing at that time. But none of us really talked to each other. We would just kind of see good times that we would post to the Google document that we had. So we didn't do anything really like rankings or anything like that. But this is a good opportunity, actually, since I do have Telfus in my chat right now. I've discussed with some of the other panelists, and we want to invite you to be a rankings panelist, Telfus. So you don't have to accept or decline right now. We'll talk about it on Discord, but I think you and your data would make really just a really useful tool to the rankings panel and to the community as a whole. We're already doing this stuff. You accept? Yeah. Well, thank you, Telfus. I'll send you a message after the stream. But yeah, this is it right now, our current list of top 10. I think we actually got pretty close to the data that Telfus put up on the discussion channel in the Discord. We're not exact with it, I know, and that's where those opinions come in, and I kind of want to just, make it a uniform thing in the future where we can all easily agree on a list. There's no, difference in votes. I will admit, Hayate was voted everywhere from 4th all the way down to 8th on this list. So we had 4 players, and he got a vote for 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th. And so we had to kind of figure out where he was going to be ranked with a lot of discussion after that. So I'd kind of like to have Telfus on board just to kind of help with the visual representation of this data. That stuff has been so good. But anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this stream. Give me a follow if you haven't already. I probably won't be speedrunning Wave Race, but I'll still play from time to time. You'll still get to see some Shibby Beach runs down the road, I promise. I just might not get the 102, Anyway, have a good rest of your day, you guys. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you later. See you in the Discord.